This is the one and only GM, and today, for today's video, I'm gonna teach everyone how to get good at Tekken 7. But not only Tekken 7, but also Tekken in general. So if you guys want to get good at Tekken, there's simple steps that you need to follow to get good at Tekken. First of all, you need to learn your frames. 1-2s, just one jabs are 10 frames, right? And usually 1-2 jabs are always 1 and 1-2 is always one jab is +1. See, +1, and then it's +1, and then the 1-2 is -1. Then you can step it, right? So one thing about Tekken that you always want to learn is to learn your frames. That's the first thing you want to learn to get good at Tekken. Learn all your frames. Learn what's plus, learn what's negative. You know what I'm saying? Learn how unsafe certain moves are. I'll give you an example. Let's say you fight a Feng player, and he's jabbing it down back 3. They're taking a big risk because that's launch punishable, right? So they're willing to take the risk. So by you knowing that that move is that unsafe, you get to duck in the correct situation. Well, let's say a Feng player is doing something like this, right? Let's say he's doing jab, bop. You know what I'm saying? See? The risk-reward ratio. If you duck the poke, the down forward 1 is just chip, but if you block that, you'll get launched. So you always gotta pay attention to what your opponent is doing. But in all, you want to learn frames at first. You know what I'm saying? So if something is -10, you can punish it with a 10 frame, and vice versa. Vice versa. So for 10 frame, -10. For 11, you do 11 frame moves. If it's -12, you do 12 frame moves. If it's -13, you do 13 frame moves. So learn all your punishments in the game. Launch punishable moves are always -15, unless your character has a 14 frame launcher or something like that. Some characters have like large and stuff like that. So please learn all your punishment in the game. That's one step to how to learn how to be good at Tekken. Another thing you should learn to be good at Tekken is to learn how to Korean backdash, which is, you know, back, down, back, back, down, back. You see how I'm doing it? It shows it down there. And that'll let you get away from certain situations and let you get away from getting poked up. See? I'm getting away, I'm running away. See, I made him whiff just by backdashing. So that's a good way to get away from pokes and make something whiff, by backdashing and set up the launcher. Also, side walking is important. You gotta learn how to step. See, Feng's, that move doesn't track that way, and Feng's weak against that way. So I completely stepped. See that? Instead of backdashing, if I would have backdash, I would have just done that. So it's important to always learn how to step. See that? Learn when to step and when not to. Always learn. So that's one thing. Also, learn how to use your armor moves. It's very, very important in Tekken 7 of when to use armor. I'll give you an example of when to use armor right now. That situation is not good because he's at plus, right? So if he's at plus and he does down forward 1 and I try to armor, he can still block. See? Because he's at plus. But see? So moves like that is too slow. He has to do something really, really slow. Like a hop kick or something. If he does a hop kick, then I could do it. So learn how to use your armor moves. That's really important in Tekken 7, is to learn how to use your armor moves. Another thing with Tekken, you have to learn how to poke. Because when somebody plays defensive, you gotta open up a poke. So down for ones is good to start a poke because there's a lot of things you could do after down for ones. If your character has a high crush, you could do the go underneath jabs if your opponent's jabbing. Same with 4-4-4. So learn what moves high crush and low crush. So basically, down for one is a check move to check what they're gonna do on block when you make them block it. And from there, you could go on with mind games. You know what I'm saying? If somebody does a mid, that's something you could do magic 4 or 2-2-3. Also learn how to play around your negatives. If you do something that's -1 and they do a jab, it's gonna come out at 11 frames. So if they do anything 12 frames and up, you're gonna beat them out. And if you do down for one to magic 4, you're gonna beat out anything 13 frames and up. So learn how to play around your negatives. If something is, let's say you do a move that's -1, the next move that you do is gonna become 1 frame slower. So if you do down for one, since down for one is -1, -1, your down for one is going to come out slower, so it's going to come out at 14 frames. So learn how to play around your negatives so you could come out with new setups and, you know, new counter hit baits and anything like that. So that's one thing, how to get good at Tekken. And of course, I already mentioned sidewalking is important, so you can know your character's weak sides and like when to step. You see in this situation, I'm not moving, I gotta guess, right? But since if I sidewalk, you see it evades. So I learned that move doesn't track that way. So practice stepping every single character's poke and offense, and then from there, you could get better at the game. I'll give you an example of me sidewalking. Look at this. Now I'm stepping. See that? Fully stepping. You see that? So it's really important to learn how to sidewalk in Tekken. Very important. Also, it's very important to know how to use your rage. Lee Chalan, for example, when I'm in rage, you want to hit somebody while staying 2-3 into rage drive. So that's the perfect time to go for a slide mix-up. Also too, is a perfect time to whiff punish. See? So when you're in rage, you want to set up your rage drive. So whatever your character's rage drive is, look to do it so you could make a comeback. Also in Tekken, another thing you want to learn how to do is learn how to space. Spacing is very important in Tekken. I'll give you an example of spacing, like with Fang. Let's say you do down 4-4, and then somebody comes in to try to poke you. Back 1, you see? That's spacing. Or you can do down 4-4, down 4-1 in case somebody comes in. See? So that's spacing. So learn how your opponent reacts after you play keep out. Keep out is important because it makes it really hard for your opponent to try to come in. So you can play a lot of spacing and make it so your opponent can have trouble getting in. But if you know it's like somebody's mashing after keep out, you can always counter hit them in between stuff. And, you know, set up launches and stuff like that. So it's very important to learn how to space properly and make people block stuff and read people's timing. Also, when you poking and making people block stuff, pay attention to how your opponent's moving. Let's say your opponent does down 4-1 and they start backing up, then you could start poking. You could start poking and, you know, setting stuff up and create your offense. Or you could do a move, you know, that reaches. It's also important to know the range on your moves too. So your moves are whiff and you have better spacing once you know the timing of the moves and how far they go in situations like that. Another thing in Tekken that you have to learn what moves are duckable. Give you an example. 1-3 with Fang is duckable. So you could like destroy your opponent for spamming moves that they shouldn't be doing. Like duckable. Like learn what jails and what doesn't. That's one very important thing. Another important thing, learn your mix-ups. Learn how to mix up properly. Let's say you've been poking with down 3s a lot and down 4s, your opponent's most likely gonna duck. So that's when you start doing the DF1s, and then you start doing the hit confirms. Like 4-2-1, 3-3, and stuff like that. Also learn when to take risks too. Pay attention to your life bars, right? If you have enough life to take a risk, go for it. But if you have a big life lead and your opponent doesn't, you really don't need to take risk. Because a lot of people make the mistake, they'll go for a big slide, even though they have a huge life lead, and they'll get blocked, and then you lose all your energy. So don't take risks unless you have to. That's one important thing of fighting games, because you don't want your opponent to make a comeback just because you make an unnecessary risk. So that's why keep out is important. You know what I'm saying? Make it hard for your opponent to come in and create an offense on you. And then they'll have trouble, you know what I'm saying, getting it in. Also, when it comes to the rage art, it absorbs hits, right? So you have to learn, you know, how to be good with it. Let's say your opponent is going stuff like this, you know? See? It absorbs. So read your opponent's time as offense. If you notice that you on rage and your opponent keeps mashing a lot, that's when you go for the rage art. You know what I'm saying? That you could bait them or whatever like that. So you have to have a combination of good spacing and good defense too. Learn how to play offensive, man. Use your plus frames. You see how this is +2? You could do jabs or something. But since it's only +2, when something's +2, +1, +3, it's still not enough frames to fully commit your opponent a block. They can still swing back, they can still armor, they can still move out of the stuff. So you have to remember how to use your frames correctly, and don't always press just because you at plus. So you have to learn all the risk reward ratios in the game. And of course, learn all your combos, right? Like Lee, you know, Lee stuff is simple. It's just back to misstep. You know what I'm saying? Bomb, bomb, bomb. So learn how, that's a wall carry combo. Or you can just do the full wall carry. See? And then when they're on the wall, you do a 50-50 or whatever. You gotta learn stuff like that. Also learn your grabs and learn how to break throws. Well, 1+2 throws are always 1+2. And then the generic throws, you can mash buttons, but it depends on the character. If you fight somebody like Jack or King, you have to really pay attention to their arms and stuff and break the throws with the specific buttons. Also remember, Tekken has low crushes and high crushes. So let's say somebody does a low or something, and you know a low is coming, you can hop kick them, and there's a low crush. Another thing too, please learn all matchups, learn how to punish all characters, learn characters' rage drives, learn characters what a character has to do to make a comeback in a match. For example, Fang has a lot of things he could do to make a comeback. He could do a side step 4, he could hit you with down back 3 on counter hit, could hit you with shoulder. Asuka, she could punch parry you, make a comeback. Brian, 1 counter hit, back one rage drive. Paul, Defus, counter hit, down forward 2. So please pay attention to what a character can do to make a comeback when they're in rage, and adapt to it accordingly. And you should be able to win the matchup like that. So also please watch also match videos. Don't always just fight rank matches. Look at your match videos and try to learn your opponent's weaknesses. That will also help you get better at Tekken if you understand stuff like that. Another thing too that people have to learn in Tekken is learn how to deal with wall situations. When you're on the wall, you have to learn how to get away from the wall. A lot of people don't know how to get away from the wall. When somebody's pressuring you on the wall, you have to do whatever it takes to get out of the wall. The way you could get out of the wall is pay attention to the way your opponent's pressuring you. You can either counter hit them, you can play keep out to keep them away from you when you're on the wall, and just move out of the wall. A lot of players' issues is that they tend to just keep their back on the wall, backdash to the wall. You see I do a wall combo, Lee's up back 3 will hit them if they stay on the floor. But if they just get up and block, they could block it. But if they get up and block, I could just do 4-4-3. I could just do 4-4-3 on the wall. See? So that's Oki on the wall. Learn the Oki. And pay attention to what the opponent does on the wall too. If you notice the opponent tech rolls, then you could go for a 50-50. If they're doing for a get-up kick, a low get-up kick, you can do a low crush. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay attention. They do sprint kicks, you could do something that hits them while they're on the floor to hit them out of the sprint kick. You know what I'm saying? Or you could bait the sprint kick and then punish them. So you have to learn how to deal wall pressure. With Lee, he has a lot of things. I could aim for a 2-2-3 counter hit on the wall. I can aim for while staying 2-3 if they duck, or I could hit confirm into, you know, the good stuff. So you gotta learn how to wall pressure, you know what I'm saying? Learn what moves splat on the wall to keep your opponent on the wall. You always want to keep the opponent on the wall. So if you have plus, keep rushing. And if your back is on the wall, just do keep out moves, move out of the way, sidewalk, you know what I'm saying? Aim for a counter hit. Do whatever it takes to get away from the wall. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're on the Oki situation, you can do get up kicks, spring kicks, but you just have to adapt accordingly to when the opponent is on the wall. So basically, in all, learn all your matchups. You know what I'm saying? Learn when to press, learn when to space, learn when to play defensive, because playing too defensive can be a weakness. You don't want to get rushed down too much. You want to learn how to play offensive and defensive. You know what I'm saying? Defense is all counter hits and spacing, blocking, sidewalking, and backdashing. And offense is just all knowing how to use your frames to be able to continue your offense, to make your opponent block. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is how to get good at Tekken, man. Learn all your matchups, watch all your match videos, learn how to punish all the characters, and learn how to play the game, man. Learn how to step to avoid moves. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to backdash so you can evade moves. Learn when to press. Also do your homing moves too. If you notice somebody stepping a lot, because homing moves is universally the thing you do to stop people from sidewalking. The only issue with homing moves is a lot of them are really slow, so you could counter hit somebody out of them. So read when your opponent's gonna sidewalk and then start doing homing, but when your opponent starts adapting and mashing you back out of your homing move, that's when you do your counter hit. So there's a lot of mind games in Tekken you guys have to learn and get into when you play the game. You know what I'm saying? So if you have big plus, that should be enough to get somebody to block. But if you have small plus, like 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2, your opponent can still do stuff. So remember that. Especially when you're on offense, you want to like stick to your plus and make your opponent fully guard. You know what I'm saying? That's always the best thing to keep somebody blocking. But on that note, thanks for watching my video, and check out fightinggm_Tekken. That's my Twitch. My nexus.gg is my fightinggm is my Capcom store. If you want to buy Street Fighter 6 and all the other new Capcom games, check out my Metafy for advanced Tekken coaching. Check out my Rogue Energy for some good supplements, energy drinks. And check out my TikTok, it's also fightinggm. And check out my HelloFresh, man. Support my content, man. Nice fresh meals to your house that you can make them on yourself, you heard? On that note, take care and peace out. Peace.